Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Diaries, episode 43. Been a pretty good week this week. Got lots of stuff done so far. I'm actually going on a trip for just over 2 weeks. I'm going to the US for doing a bit of a road trip. For like two weeks and 2 days, I think it is. So I've been prepping for that, trying to get as much done as possible. This is probably going to be the longest trip I've ever done where I'm not traveling and working. It is supposed to be a holiday. Obviously, I'll definitely do some work whilst I'm over there. I'll even probably still be posting these videos on a weekly basis, but the idea is the majority of my time I'm not going to be working, which is going to be interesting. I've done the whole work and travel before, where I'll go away somewhere for like a month or two, or even just like a month, and I'll work just like normal. Didn't love that. Being like, it depends where you are. I remember a few years ago, I went to Thailand for Christmas for like a month and I hated it. I didn't really like Thailand, to be honest, but I also hated the work schedule as well, whilst hopping between different hotels and moving around every few weeks. So, sorry. So I don't really like that. I've intentionally now, over the next year, I've got a couple of trips planned in where I'm intentionally trying to take like 1 to 2 weeks completely off. And I've never really done that. I've always kind of mixed the work and the travel. So going to be interesting to see how we do. So this next week is going to be super busy as I try and prep for that. Luckily, everything's under control. We've got no like huge projects launching that, I have to be on my laptop all the time for, which is nice. Creating content and getting it scheduled and stuff. This is the only type of content that I kind of like post the same day as I film it almost. So, or thereabouts. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Anyway, that's what I've been working on over the past week, along with the other stuff that I mentioned in the previous video. But that's not actually what I wanted to talk about. And I've talked about this in previous videos, and I think maybe this is either just me or it's just a common trait among everyone, is that I'm super impatient with the results, and I'm in a constant thought process of I should be further ahead. Now, I think that could be like self-sabotaging sometimes, but it's also a good thing. Sorry, I don't know why I'm coughing so much. Let's get some water. Yeah, I think it's also a good thing because it obviously pushes me to want to do more. But there's always like a sense of feeling of like, you hit an income goal or you do well in one thing, but you always feel like you could have done more or you should be doing more. And I've always had that feeling, honestly. You get some people out there who are just like, I've hit every goal that I've set. And I'm like, fuck, I wish I hit every goal I set. I miss most of my goals, just being totally transparent. It doesn't mean you can't progress and do good stuff and have a good life. But like for me, every stage of my journey, I've always dramatically underestimated the time it would take to get the result. I've hit certain goals, but it's took so much longer. I think back in the day, I used to listen to Ty Lopez's podcast all the time. And I remember he said this quote. He said, maybe not word for word, but he said, you can achieve any goal that you want in life, but it's going to take you 12 to 18 months longer than you anticipate. And for me, honestly, sometimes it's been even longer than that, but like it was a very good lesson and it resonated with me on, just my journey and, what I've been through. Whereas I have hit certain goals eventually, but it's always taken longer than I thought. And my initial vision of like, we're going to make this much money in this much time. Even with this business, when we launched, I was like, we're going to make this much money and we got nowhere near it. And it was always like slightly disappointing with the result, even though we are making progress. So I wanted to just touch on a very cliche image where you'll see like the person here digging for gold, right? And then they stop, but then this person continues digging only like 1 meter further, and he gets all the gold because he didn't give up. And I think, like, not that I'm even close to giving up on this business, far from it, but sometimes you're just looking around and you're like, this person's making this much money. This person launched a new business and they've made this much money. And it's like, you're only looking at like the highlight reel, as we all know, but it can fuck with your head sometimes because you're like, shit, I've been doing this longer for them and I'm making less than them. So it's always like a good reminder, like, I don't like this image or just my previous experience of like, if you just keep going, keep making adjustments, you will eventually hit the goal. But you do have to keep going and stay consistent. And that's what it feels like a little bit with this business right now. It's like, okay, we're making money, which is good. It's not as much as I want, which is bad. And we've kind of been hovering around like the same income, even really since, the last, it's about a year old. Maybe it could even be like the end of, it's just past a year actually. I think we launched, I want to say on like the 10th of March was when we did our first launch webinar. So I didn't even think about that in previous videos when I was filming. We're about a year old, and it's like, honestly, we've been relatively at the same income the entire time, because obviously we didn't start from scratch. We started with an audience. We started with an email list. So like that was a big advantage, obviously. But since then, it's kind of been, up and down a little bit, but it's always been in the same bracket of income, which has been, like I said, pretty disappointing. If I'm being totally honest, like it's not hit my expectations. I'm happy working on the business. I'm excited to grow the business. I'm motivated to grow the business, like really motivated, like I'm hungry for it. But there's definitely like an oversensing sense of disappointment, like that we haven't achieved more in the time frame. And I think also it hurts a little bit more because I'm supposed to be the marketing guy. Like I'm supposed to be I'm the people, like we make our clients millions. Like I'm the guy people pay to like monetize audience and convert to cold traffic and to make them a shitload of money. But this business isn't hitting the goals that I want to hit, or it's not hitting the same level as my clients' businesses are hitting. And it hurts the ego a little bit because I'm supposed to be the guy, And I know you got to throw your ego to the side, which I'm trying to doing. And even like when you get to like a certain point, like you don't want to when you get to a certain point, there's part of you also that stops trying to learn because you're supposed to be like the marketing guy or the guy who scales info products. Like I'm supposed to be that guy. So like part of your ego then stops you from like learning from others and trying to learn new strategies because you're supposed to be the guy. And I also think a little bit like, I came to my business partner with the business idea and I said, look, you handle the content, you grow the audience, you handle the coaching and the fulfillment. I'm going to do everything else. And I'm the expert. And yet, we got a decent sized audience. It's not necessarily like growing rapidly, but it's a big enough audience to make money with for sure. And we have made money. It's not, again, we're doing all right, but it's a little, I feel like I'm letting my business partner down a little bit because not necessarily everything that we're trying is working extremely well. It's working and it's making, well, define working, right? It's making money. And I think, I don't want to speak for my business partner. They're extremely happy because I know before our agreement, this has just added like a whole new income stream for them, which they never had before. And I think it's overtaken a lot of the stuff they've been making previously, which is great, which is awesome, which I'm super happy with. But for me, I've kind of like not stepped back from the agency, but like I'm not taking on more clients because I'm going to put my focus into this. I don't even know what point I was making. But that was it. Like, I just feel like if I'm going to propose a business idea to them and we're going to partner up, then I got into this mindset of like, everything I do needs to be a home run, or at least it shouldn't. Again, struggle is subjective because some people would swap places with me and have this business as their full-time income and be very happy. This at the moment is just honestly like a side business for me. And I don't spend the money that it makes, but I feel like it should be doing more, basically. Yeah, I don't want to ramble, but yeah, that's just like my thought process. But it's always like, again, I've been in this position before with other businesses and it's worked out pretty well. And eventually, if you keep going, I know it's going to come good. But sometimes it is a little bit confusing because I'm the person that big coaches and big experts have paid to help them come up with their marketing strategy and help them, grow and scale. So when you can't do that like automatically for your own audience, well, it's not even my audience, it's my business, but for your own business, then it can mess with your head a little bit, honestly. And it gets you to start questioning everything, and then your ego comes in and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I've been thinking about this week, because we've tried quite a few different things recently, and that might be the problem. We're trying too many different things, but we're trying a few different things and we've not hit that like home run yet. Where like we've had client campaigns for clients where we do a launch or we launch a new funnel and it just goes boom. And, the income shoots up, the most money they've ever made in a month, and like, just Stripe going crazy, and everyone's happy. I'm still waiting for like that moment with this business where we hit something and we're like, oh shit, this is like really working. I'm kind of still waiting for that moment. So, and that's why as well, like I'm going on this trip next month and I'm like, oh, should I really be going on this trip? If we're not like, scaling and, being extremely profitable and making millions every single month, which I know is a bit of a toxic mindset to be like, oh, you can't take days off. But yeah, maybe that's for another video. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I know there's not much business stuff in there, but it's kind of like what my mind's been walking myself through over the past few days. So maybe some of you can resonate, maybe some of you can't. I'll try and include some more business teaching in future videos. But regardless, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.